Well, 3 years ago, a Florida family story went viral for raising a gender-neutral baby.
Families are supposed to look alike, act alike, and live predictable lives. But some break the mold completely, with siblings, parents, or even entire households showing traits you have to see to believe.
Hi, I'm Savannah Trapp. I'm the eldest sibling in the world's tallest family, and I'm going to introduce you.
From record-breaking abilities to rare genetic oddity, these families push the limits of what we expect. Join us as we explore 15 of the most unusual families in the world. Number 15, the quadripedal family. Imagine a family that never stood up straight, not because they couldn't, but because their bodies were wired to move like our distant ancestors. In a remote Turkish village, 5 siblings from the Armless family walk on all fours, using their hands and feet with astonishing speed and balance. Scientists first thought it was a hoax, until neurologist Uner Tan saw it himself in the early 2000s and called it a window into evolution. The siblings, Safiye, Hussein, Emine, and 2 brothers, were born with a rare genetic mutation that damaged the part of the brain controlling balance. Their palms are calloused from daily life, fetching water, herding goats, and climbing hills that upright villagers struggle to cross. When Safiye first lost her ability to walk upright at 6, her family thought it was temporary. But soon, all 5 showed the same strange gait. Genetic tests later revealed the cause: a recessive mutation triggered by generations of close-kin marriages, which reawakened an ancient pattern buried in human DNA. But while the Armless family redefined what it means to walk as humans, another family somewhere else redefined what it means to belong to one. Their bond isn't written in DNA, but in vows. Number 14. The man with 100 wives. In Cameroon's highlands, one man's idea of family stretches far beyond imagination. King Abumi II, ruler of Bafut, sits at the center of a royal household with nearly 100 wives and over 500 children. What began as an old tradition of inheritance has grown into a living system where power, politics, and family blur into one. When Abumi inherited the throne in 1968, he also inherited his late father's wives, a duty, not a desire, meant to preserve family lines and protect widows. Over time, his household expanded, with dozens more women joining as symbols of alliance and honor. What outsiders see as chaos is, in Bafut, a careful balance of hierarchy and respect. Behind the palace walls, the older queens hold quiet power. They manage land disputes and advise the king on tribal matters, while younger wives take charge of community projects, from children's education to healthcare drives. Life in the palace runs like a small city, with cooks, tutors, guards, and hundreds of children filling every courtyard. Power can unite, but it can also replicate itself in stranger ways. And in one English home, a mother's influence didn't just shape her daughters' lives, it shaped their faces too. Number 13. The identical family. There's a family so identical that strangers can't tell the difference between the mother and her daughters. Imagine walking into a home where every face staring back at you is the same. In Nottinghamshire, England, Chantel Marshall and her 4 daughters have spent tens of thousands of dollars on surgeries to look exactly alike. Same faces, same hair, same figures, even the same breast implants. It all began in the 1990s when Chantel, a psychic and single mother, underwent her first cosmetic surgery to rebuild her confidence. The transformation gave her a sense of control she had long lost. And one by one, her daughters followed, reshaping themselves until they became reflections of her. Locals call them Britain's most enhanced family. Their matching looks draw stares wherever they go, some in admiration, others in disbelief. But behind the glamour lies a cycle that even they struggle to control. Each surgery brings more scrutiny, more pressure, and more questions about identity. Despite public criticism and medical warnings, they defend their lifestyle as unity, not obsession. But even within that bond, cracks appear. One daughter has chosen to stay natural, breaking the family pattern, a decision that may redefine what together really means for them. But where the Marshalls changed their appearance by choice, another mother faced the world's fury for something that wasn't even real, yet felt real enough to divide the internet overnight. Number 12. The tattooed toddler. It started with a baby photo that broke the internet, a 6-month-old covered in tattoos from neck to ankle. Millions thought it was real. Some called it child abuse, others called it art. But behind the viral outrage was one Florida mom, Shamika Morris, who turned her son Trilon, nicknamed Nugget, into the face of one of the most controversial parenting debates online. Shemika, a tattoo artist herself, began airbrushing temporary tattoos on her baby as playful photo art. None of it was permanent, but the images looked so realistic that the internet exploded. Comment sections were filled with insults and threats, and even child protection services were contacted. But Shemika didn't back down. She explained that her designs were completely safe, FDA-approved body paint that wiped off easily. When journalists and fact-checkers stepped in, her story flipped. Outrage turned to fascination as she revealed that the tattoos were part of her creative bond with her son. Within months, Traylan's photos reached hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok and Instagram, drawing both critics and copycats. What was once labeled irresponsible became a family brand, complete with merchandise, media features, and awareness about judgment in parenting. The ink faded from one story, but in another, color itself disappeared. Number 11. The family born without color. If the world were a painting, this family would be the one place where every color vanished. In Coventry, England, the Parvez Akhtar family stands out not for their differences in shade, but for their complete lack of it. 8 members, all born with snow-white skin, pale hair, and light eyes. It's not a fashion choice or a coincidence, but a genetic mystery so rare, it earned them a Guinness World Record as the largest all-albino family in existence. Their story began in the 1980s with Aslam Parvez and Shamim Akhtar, a couple of Pakistani descent who both carried the recessive gene for oculocutaneous albinism type 1A, a condition that strips the body of melanin, the pigment that gives skin, hair, and eyes their color. When their first child, Nasim, was born with pure white skin and near-blind vision, doctors said it was an almost impossible occurrence. But then it happened again and again. By the 1990s, all 6 of their children shared the same striking pallor and fragile eyesight, a genetic miracle that defied the odds. Life outside their home was a constant test. The sun could blister their skin within minutes, and harsh stares from strangers often cut deeper than the heat. Aslam, despite his poor vision, worked long hours in a steel factory, while Shamim turned their home into a shelter of quiet strength, teaching her children how to protect themselves, not just from sunlight, but from judgment. Then, after years of drifting apart, destiny reunited them. In 2020, the pandemic lockdown forced the siblings, now scattered across the United Kingdom, to reconnect after 24 years apart. That reunion reignited their family bond and led to global recognition when they were officially awarded their Guinness title in May 2021. But where one family lives in light, another thrives in shadow, earning them a name that will stick with them for life. Number 10. The Wolf family. For most families, hair is just a trait. For the Gomez Aceves family of Mexico, it's a legacy that covers their faces, arms, and almost their entire bodies, turning them into living legends known as the Wolf family. There are 19 members across 5 generations who carry a rare condition called congenital generalized hypertrichosis, where thick hair grows over 95% of their skin. It's caused by a tiny mutation on the X chromosome, so rare that scientists estimate it affects fewer than 1 in a billion people. Leading the family is Larry Gomez, once teased as a child, but later celebrated on international stages. In the 1990s, he joined a circus not to hide, but to own his difference, earning crowds' respect with humor and confidence. His relatives followed his lead. From his Aunt Louisa to his cousin Jesus, each embraced their appearance, transforming ridicule into pride and using their fame to educate others about genetic diversity. Still, their path hasn't been easy. For generations, they faced superstition, rejection, and discrimination, even being called cursed, but their determination turned pain into purpose. Today, the Gomez family travel, give talks, and appear in documentaries, showing that what once made them outcasts now makes them icons of resilience. The Gomez family learned to embrace what the world once called monstrous. Yet in another corner of the world, a family with angelic faces hides a truth that's far harder to face. Number 9. The Manorong family, faces the world can't forget. In a quiet village in North Sumatra, a single family looks like they've been sculpted from soft clay, with round faces, swollen cheeks, and angelic eyes that seem almost unreal. The Manorongs carry a condition so rare that it affects fewer than 1 in a million people. It's called cherubism, a genetic mutation that makes the bones of the jaw grow uncontrollably, reshaping faces as the children grow. It starts small, just a little puff around the cheeks, but by adolescence, it can turn into full facial swelling, a change so dramatic that it transforms how the world sees them. For young Sari Manorong, the change began at age 7. Within 5 years, her reflection became almost unrecognizable. Doctors finally identified the cause. Her bones were breaking down and rebuilding too fast, especially in her jaw. By the time she turned 12, her face had rounded so completely that strangers often stared in silence. The first to face it all was grandfather Rahman back in the 1970s. He called their condition full moon luck, teaching the kids to see beauty in their differences. His humor turned their faces into symbols of pride rather than shame. At family gatherings, they even joke that their cheeks are built for storing smiles. But behind that laughter lies a long battle with stigma, schoolyard teasing, curious tourists, and medical bills that mount as fast as the swelling itself. Today, the Manorongs have found strength in visibility. On social media, they share videos of their family life, showing that confidence can outshine any condition. Their clips have gone viral, turning the once isolated family into global advocates for rare genetic awareness. From faces that defy definition to identities that refuse one altogether, our next family doesn't just challenge biology, they challenge the very idea of who we are. Number 8. The Dennis family. When Ari and Julia Dennis welcomed their newborn in Florida in 2017, they made a decision that shocked even their closest friends. They refused to reveal their baby's gender to anyone. No blue or pink clothes, no gendered name. Just one rule: their child, Sparrow, would grow up without labels. The couple, joined by their partner Kyle, identify as non-binary and wanted their child to choose who they are, not be told who to be. They called Sparrow a thaby, meaning a baby raised without gender expectations. Instead of princess dresses or toy trucks, Sparrow's room was filled with neutral colors, greens, yellows, and purples, and a mix of toys from every aisle. Their older child, Hazel, had come out as non-binary at age 4, and the parents wanted to give Sparrow that same freedom from the start. But the idea exploded into controversy. When the family appeared on the Dr. Phil show in 2018, critics accused them of confusing their child. Ari stood firm, saying, "It's not confusion, it's choice." The family faced backlash online, but they also gained support from parents who felt trapped by society's rules. As Sparrow grew, something remarkable happened. The thaby seemed completely unaffected by the world's debate. At 5 years old, Sparrow could play, dress, and speak freely without hesitation or fear. Meanwhile, Hazel became a youth advocate, helping others understand that identity doesn't have to be fixed. But while the Dennises built their lives around choice, the next family built theirs around strength, proving that there is ability in disability. Number 7. Linda and Timmy Bannon. Most parents child-proof their homes for safety. Linda Bannon from Illinois never needed to. She and her son Timmy were both born without arms, a rare genetic condition called Holt-Oram syndrome. But instead of seeing it as a limitation, they built a life that defies everything people assume is impossible. Linda learned to do everything with her feet: cooking, writing, driving, and even tying her hair. As a child in the 1980s, doctors told her she'd depend on others for life. She proved them wrong before her 16th birthday, getting her driver's license, graduating from college, and later becoming a nurse. She raised Timmy in the same spirit. No special tools, no shortcuts, just determination. Timmy inherited the same condition, but not his mother's hesitation. By age 10, he was swimming competitively, slicing through water with his legs like fins. He plays video games with his toes, writes essays, and earns top grades. Their house has no modifications, no ramps, and no assistive devices. Their story went viral after appearing on Ellen and Good Morning America. But behind the cameras, the Bannons live by quiet discipline. Every meal, every task, every day, an act of practiced perseverance. Even when Linda faced heart complications from her condition, she refused to slow down. "Timmy needs to see that strength is learned," she said during her recovery. Today, they tour schools and events, teaching that challenges don't define people, choices do. In Minnesota, another family's daily view of the world is something most people will never experience. Number 6. The Trapp family, the tallest family on Earth. Imagine walking into a room where every person is so tall that door frames feel like child-sized obstacles. That's daily life for the Trapp family from Minnesota, officially recognized by Guinness World Records as the tallest family in the world, with an average height of 6 feet, 8 inches. Parents Scott and Chrissy Trapp, along with their children Savannah, Molly, and Adam, live in a world built for people half their height. Their home is customized from top to bottom. Beds are 8 feet long, shower heads are mounted at ceiling height, and a van is redesigned to fit their legs. Even so, simple tasks can feel like running an obstacle course. Grocery stores, narrow hallways, and cramped restaurant booths all turn into daily challenges. Growing up, Savannah remembers ducking through school doorways while classmates whispered and stared. Her father, Scott, jokes that he hasn't used a step stool in decades, but the truth is, being tall isn't always a blessing. Shoes must be ordered from Europe, pants require custom tailoring, and strangers often stop them in public just to ask, "Do you play basketball?" But what began as awkward attention eventually turned into pride. The Trapps learned to laugh through the difficulties, hosting an annual Tall Tales family campout, where they share their stories with others who face similar challenges. Their story gained international attention after they started sharing their life online, turning daily frustrations into moments of humor and inspiration. But in Los Angeles, a father and daughter found a way to stand tall without height at all, using something far more symbolic. Number 5. The family that redefined hair. Most families pass down heirlooms or traditions. Benny Harlem passed down something entirely different, hair so tall and full it made history. In 2017, Benny and his daughter Jackson were recognized by Guinness World Records for his 20.5-inch high-top afro, the tallest natural hairstyle ever recorded. Their story exploded online when photos of the duo went viral. Standing side by side, their matching crowns of hair became a powerful symbol of pride and self-expression in Black culture. But beneath the fame was a deeper story, one about identity, fatherhood, and resilience. Benny grew up in New York without a father figure. He turned that absence into motivation, teaching Jackson to value her natural self from an early age. Together, they built a brand focused on hair care and confidence, creating natural products and tutorials that reached millions. Their bond caught the attention of magazines and talk shows, but not everyone believed their image was real. Critics called it an act, but Benny and Jackson kept proving them wrong through appearances, interviews, and live events. Their hair became their crown. But our next story begins with a pair of eyes that seem to see two worlds at once. Number 4. Mehmet and Kerem Selman. At first glance, they look like any other pair of brothers, but one look into their eyes, and you realize something extraordinary. Each iris is split clean in half blue and half brown, as if painted by hand. Mehmet and Kerem Selman, two brothers from Bursa, Turkey, were born with a rare condition called sectoral heterochromia, which causes one eye to display two distinct colors. When photos of them first surfaced in 2019, they quickly became a local sensation. Children whispered about their magic eyes, while adults called them the brothers who see the world twice. Their parents were shocked when doctors explained the condition, a harmless genetic mutation that happens in only about 1 in 200,000 people. For Mehmet, the attention started early. Strangers often asked to take photos or touch his face, believing the eyes had mystical meaning. His younger brother Kerem took it differently, turning curiosity into confidence, even using the attention to build friendships. Both have learned to live comfortably with the fascination that follows them everywhere. Over time, the brothers began using their visibility to promote self-acceptance. They speak openly about embracing differences, visiting schools, and sharing how their two colored eyes taught them empathy and patience. Their story gained global attention when they appeared in documentaries and online features exploring genetic diversity. Some people say eyes are the windows to the soul. But for one Brazilian family, their difference isn't in their eyes, it's written across their skin and hair like lightning frozen in time. Number 3. The white streak that shook Brazil. Imagine being born with a lightning bolt across your hair, a snow-white streak that refuses to blend in, marking not just you, but nearly everyone in your family. In Brazil, the Souza family turn heads everywhere they go, their striking patches of white skin and hair creating the illusion of walking works of art. The cause, a rare genetic condition called piebaldism, which prevents pigment cells from fully forming in certain areas of the body. Samuel Silva, the youngest star of the family, became an internet sensation at just 8 years old when his bold white streak caught a modeling scout's eye during Rio's carnival. By 12, he was walking for international brands. But behind the fame lies a deeper story, one of a family that turned what others called a flaw into a shared symbol of strength. His grandmother once hid her white hair from ridicule in the 1960s. Today, her grandchildren wear theirs proudly on magazine covers and runways. Doctors say piebaldism affects roughly 1 in 20,000 people, but in the Souza bloodline, it runs deep through generations of parents, cousins, and children, each carrying a piece of the family's bright legacy. It's harmless but rare enough to make them the subject of constant attention, both online and in public. Now with millions of followers, Samuel and his relatives use their fame to inspire others facing similar differences. The Souzas carried light in their hair. But the next family carried something else entirely, a secret hidden right behind their smiles. Number 2. The family with record-breaking tongues. Some families inherit blue eyes or curly hair. The Schlankers inherited something that barely fits in their mouths. In Syracuse, New York, Byron Schlanker and his daughter Emily hold world records for the widest tongues ever measured. Byron, a mild-mannered teacher, discovered his unusual feature by accident in 2014 while reading a Guinness World Records book at school. Out of curiosity, he measured his tongue, and it came out wider than a credit card. At 3.37 inches, it was nearly twice the average human width. Doctors called it tongue hypertrophy, a harmless overgrowth of the tongue's muscle fibers. But no one in his family had ever noticed anything unusual beyond the occasional joke about his giant grin. That changed when Emily, then 14, decided to measure hers too. Her results stunned even the Guinness team, 2.89 inches wide, setting the female record. Overnight, the father-daughter duo went viral. Their faces splashed across TV screens as the family with the world's widest tongues. Behind the laughs and late-night show appearances, their story carried something deeper. Byron had grown up being teased for his speech and heavy mouth, never realizing the same feature that once made him self-conscious would one day make him famous. Emily, who faced teasing in school after their story broke, learned to turn mockery into confidence, often saying, "It's not weird, it's ours." Doctors have since confirmed that both Byron's and Emily's cases are natural and rare, likely inherited through a mild genetic trait. The family you're about to meet next may just hold something even more extraordinary, proof that evolution is still experimenting among us. Number 1. The family born with extra power in their hands. If evolution ever decided to take a test run on humans, the Da Silva family in Brazil might just be the prototype. Across 4 generations, 14 members of this extraordinary family were all born with extra fingers and toes, not as deformities, but as fully functional additions that make their hands stronger, faster, and more precise than most. What science calls polydactyly, a genetic condition that causes extra digits to form, is usually treated as something to correct. But in the Da Silva family, it's become their greatest advantage. It all began with Acis da Silva, who worked the sugarcane fields in the 1980s. With 6 fingers on each hand, he could slice stalks faster and cleaner than anyone around him. Instead of hiding it, he embraced it. And when his children and grandchildren inherited the same trait, the family began to see it as a gift, not a flaw. Alejandro, Acis's son, remembers being teased in school for having spider hands. Today, he builds guitars with unmatched precision, his 6th finger giving him the control most craftsmen only dream of. His teenage son, Dao, uses his extra pinky to grip a soccer ball so securely that he's earned a reputation as an unbeatable goalkeeper. Even young Maria, just 12, plays piano with a natural reach that allows her to master complex pieces effortlessly. Doctors call it postaxial polydactyly, an extra digit growing beside the little finger, and in the Da Silvas, it follows a dominant gene. Each child has a 50% chance of inheriting it. Yet for them, this rare trait isn't just genetic, it's identity. From factory floors to football fields, their extras have become their edge. And as Alejandro once said, smiling into the camera, 10 fingers are ordinary. We were made to do more. The Da Silvas turned a rare mutation into mastery, their extra fingers reshaping what it means to be human. So tell us, which of these families left you the most speechless? Drop your answer in the comments section below. And if you love true stories that make you question everything you thought was normal, subscribe and turn on notifications because the next one might uncover something even more extraordinary or unsettling. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.